Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. So we will continue our discussion on economy. We are in the module International Organization. So we have completed WTO and we just started off with regional trade agreements. Okay. So after this, WTO we have taken around 7 sessions. Now regional trade agreements we just started. 1 session is over. 2 more sessions are left out. And then what we'll do is we'll discuss about BRICS. We'll discuss about G20, G7. Okay. We will talk about World Bank, IMF. Every year prelims as well as in mains you used to get questions from international organization. So we will do it completely. We will not leave anything for chances. Okay. So if you remember, we have done with WTO completely. We have talked about the agreements, WTO agreements. We have discussed about ministerial conferences. So if you are attending this for the first time, what I'll do is I'll go for a quick recap of what all things that we have discussed so that you will not face any problem with continuity. But if you need to get the complete idea about what all things that we have covered, you can go and watch those videos. Okay. So we basically started off with GATT, okay, General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. I've told you how it came into existence in 1947. 23 countries met and an agreement signed basically to promote world trade by reducing the tariff barriers. And in 1948, 1st of Jan, GATT came into existence. We have discussed about the objectives, principles, etc. And we have discussed about various rounds. And first 7 round went smoothly, just discussing only trade related issues as its objective. Okay, and in the 8th round, which is known as Uruguay round, some new issues have been picked up related to investment, intellectual property, agriculture, environment, etc. And that led to some issues. So that discussion stuck for a long time and there was no consensus between developing and developed. And the DG at that time, the then Director General of GATT, Mr. Arthur Dungal, come up with draft final act, and developing countries were forced to sign this act. Otherwise, they don't have any other option but to opt out of the organization. But there was a provision that the developing countries' issues will be resolved. Okay, that was one of the provision. So if you see, one of the most important provision of this Dunkel draft or this agreement was actually signed in Marrakesh. It is also known as Marrakesh Agreement. One of the most important provision is the name and nature of the organization will change. So the name was changed from GATT to WTO. So WTO came into existence in 1994 onwards. Okay, so from here if you see the nature how it changed, it was still then only talking about trade. Now more issues are going to be discussed in the WTO, like trade related issues, that is one only, then investment issues, intellectual property issues, okay, agriculture issues, environmental issues. All these issues are going to be picked up in the WTO now onwards. Okay, so the nature changed, name changed, and apart from that there are many other things that we have discussed with respect to WTO. We have talked about objectives, we talked about principles, we talked about the structure. In the structure we discussed about ministerial conferences, and I have told you this is the highest decision making body. Then we have discussed about General Council, we discussed about Trade Policy Review Body, we talked about Dispute Settlement Board. That means if any member country violate any of the WTO norms, the affected country can basically sue the country which violated the WTO norm in the Dispute Settlement Board, and DSB should give its decision within 18 months, and this decision could be challenged in the appellate authority, and the decision of appellate authority is actually final and binding. Okay, so that means WTO is having some judicial power which was not there with GATT. GATT was just a loose agreement. WTO is a very formal organization. Then we have discussed about various WTO agreement. The most important one is agreement on agriculture. We discussed about domestic support, market access, tariffication, TRQ, AMS, aggregate measurement of support. Okay, the commitments of developed countries and developing countries with respect to AMS. That means subsidies should be within limit, and what was that limit we have discussed. We have also talked about amber box, blue box, green box subsidies. Okay, we have talked about export subsidies. Everything we have covered in agreement on agriculture. Okay, then second agreement was related to TRIPS, trade related intellectual property rights, where we have discussed that WTO member should give at least minimum level of protection for 7 intellectual property rights. What are they? Patent, geographical indicators, copyright, trade secret, trademark, industrial design and layout of an integrated circuit. So layout of an integrated circuit means it is basically the transistors, resistors and capacitors, the connection between them. Okay, so that was what we have discussed under TRIPS, and when we have discussed about this, we have discussed each and every 7 intellectual property in detail. We have also talked about Indian Patent Act and TRIPS norms related to patents, and we have also discussed about the Indian Patent Amendment Act, which was there, happened in 2005. So everything we have discussed. We have also discussed various concepts like evergreening of patent, compulsory licensing, etc. We have also talked about, then after that we have discussed about the other agreements like TRIMS, trade related intellectual investment measures. Okay, then we have discussed about GATS, general agreement in trade and service, and where we have discussed about 4 modes of service: mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4. We have made it very clear. This GAT and this GAT is entirely different. Then we have also discussed about non-agricultural cases under NAMA, non-agriculture market access. Okay, with that we have completed the discussion on WTO agreements. Then we have discussed about ministerial conferences. We discussed about Singapore issue. Okay, then in that we have discussed about various issues related to competition policy, investment policy, government procurement, trade facilitation, etc. We have also talked about Doha development round, very important one. We have discussed a lot of issues of developing countries. So if you see, Singapore issues was mainly raised by developed countries, by US, EU and Japan, but the Doha development issues were mainly raised by LDCs and UDCs. Okay, so it's like developed countries should cut down the export subsidies on agriculture. Okay, then cotton subsidy should be reduced, etc. So we have seen many concerns of developing countries over there. Okay, then we have also discussed about Bali Ministerial Conference, Nairobi Conference. Okay, and then we have discussed about Nairobi package, etc. With that we have completed WTO. So very lengthy discussion. We have done 7 sessions, close to 3.5 hours. If you sit for that, you complete everything about WTO. There is no need to read anything else for WTO after you attending that session. Okay, each and every top point, minute details like special safeguard mechanism. What is it? What is special product? All these are coming under WTO. What is compulsory licensing? What is evergreening of patent? Okay, what do you mean by countervailing duty? What do you mean by anti-dumping duty? Everything we have covered. Okay, so just watch that video. If you missed out any of the videos, you can get in touch with me here. This is my Instagram ID, or you can join the Telegram channel. You'll get all my videos over there. So this is the Telegram channel. You can join there, or this is my Instagram ID. You can get in touch with me there, or these two are my Facebook page. Okay, so in any of this you can get in touch with me. I have regular classes, so if you are interested in that, or online classes are available with StudyIQ, economy, history, all the classes are available with StudyIQ. So I'm taking history, I'm taking economy and quantitative aptitude also. So if you need, you can get in touch with me in this ID. So and okay, after that we have discussed about this regional trade agreements. We started with regional trade agreements, and I've told you this is actually the debate between multilateralism and regionalism. When we talk about WTO, it is all about multilateralism, promoting multilateralism. When we discuss about regional trade agreement, it is actually promoting regionalism. Okay, so which one is better? Multilateralism is always better. And even though we are signing, if you see in the last decade, the regional trade agreements of India has consistently increased, right? It is almost doubled, but main objective is like the objective of India is actually multilateralism only, to promote multilateralism. But you are going for regional trade agreements because some issues were there with WTO. We got stuck in the Doha development round, and also we are considering this regional trade agreements as a means to multilateralism. Okay, so that's what we have discussed. And if you remember, we have discussed about the effects of regional trade agreement. 2 effects that we have discussed is trade creation and trade diversion. I have given you enough example and I have told you how this trade creation, which is a positive impact, and trade diversion, which is a negative impact, how is this happening also. We have discussed it with example. Okay, so in this session, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to discuss various regional trade agreements. So what I'll do is I'll start with PTA, Preferential Trade Agreement. Now if you see here, I'm going in a particular order, and this order itself will actually help you to understand the importance of each agreement. So if you see, when you're climbing upon the ladder, if you're going with this particular order, with each order the importance is actually keep on increasing, or the connection between the countries actually keep on increasing. Okay, so PTA. Okay, and above that some more importance will be given if it is free trade agreement. Some more new advantages will be there when it comes to free trade agreement. And above free trade agreement, what is there? If you ask me, there is custom union. Okay, customs union. We will discuss everything in detail, but I'm just giving that order so that you can easily remember the importance of each. If you ask me which one among this is more important, then it is CU, or more features, it will be customs union. And above customs union, there is something called as common market or single market or national market. Okay, what you call it. So common market. Then above this you have economic union. That means economic and monetary union. So this you can easily, in terms of what? In terms of one single word, integration. In terms of this single word, you can actually understand which one is having more integration and which one is having less integration. So it is actually flowing in this direction. Which one is more integrated? Economic union is more integrated. This is least integrated. So every step, this is actually one step you are going ahead, and your integration is actually keep on increasing. You are more integrated with economic union, but preferential trade agreement, some preference is given. Okay, so this is what you need to keep in your mind. And apart from that, CECA, Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, all these are diplomatic words. Okay, in fact, if you see this Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, all these are actually cooperation only. All these are economic cooperation. Right from PTA to economic union, these all are economic cooperation. But where the cooperation is maximum, here the cooperation is maximum. So this either integration or cooperation, in any word you can actually understand this. So there is no need to mug up these different terms or the definitions. Just understand these two words, cooperation or integration. So from that you can easily understand everything and you can remember everything. It's all about increasing the level of cooperation or increasing the level of integration. So Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, or if you see Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, these are diplomatic words. All these are part of this. If you are in cooperation means it could be in any of this cooperation. If you are in partnership means, see, instead of cooperation, partnership is used, because partnership is a very good word, right? Partnership is anyway much better than cooperation. But partnership means it's cooperation only ultimately. So these are actually diplomatic words. So you don't want to be too much concerned about this. What you need to know is, technically this is what you need to know. All these are the means of cooperation or partnership. Okay. So here cooperation or partnership, whatever you want, you can write here. So all these we are going to discuss. This 5 are means of partnership or means of cooperation or means of integration. So CECA, CEPA, you don't want to study separately. These are just diplomatic terms. What are the means of CECA or CEPA? It's the same, this 5. And if it is PTA or FTA, see, compared to FTA, CU is more cooperation. Compared to CU, common market is much more cooperation. Okay, now I hope you understood the background now. So let me get into each of this. So the most important part is actually done. It's all about cooperation. It's all about integration. It's all about partnership. And you understood the order, right? This is how PTA, and which one is more? Preferential trade agreement. More than that, integration is there in FTA. And more than that, where you see the integration, customs union. And more integration you can see from custom union in common market and economic union. Okay, so this is how you need to remember. Here more integration. So if you see here, this is integration. Okay, so see, it's all about integration. No, this partnership, this various agreements are for integration or partnership or cooperation. You can put it in any way. So it can be integration or partnership or cooperation. So my point here is, these two you don't want to worry about these terms. These are diplomatic terms. These 5 are the means of CECA or CEPA, or tomorrow if I want I can come up with CEIA, Comprehensive Economic Integration Agreement also. Okay, so these are diplomatic words. You don't want to waste your time for that, but have an idea. These are the 5 different levels of integration or cooperation or partnership. So let's get started with the first one, that is PTA. Okay, Preferential Trade Agreement. Preferential Trade Agreement. So here, understand just one point that you need to keep in your mind is I am only talking about economic integration here. Okay, so all these five, there is no need to have mugging up the definitions. I'm not going to talk about definition also. I'm only telling you the level of integration so that it will be very easy for you to understand. Otherwise, you keep on reading books and it will be always confusing. What is common market and custom union? You'll be confused. But I'll explain it clearly. What is this? What is the difference? Exactly, I'll show you. But you don't want to, remember in terms of words. Only one thing, it's all about economic integration, the levels of integration. Okay, so preferential trade agreement, first one, or partial scope agreement. Partial scope agreement. Okay, PSA or PTA. So here, is it free trade? No, it is not free trade. If it is free trade, then there is no need to discuss about free trade agreement separately, right? So here, it's not free trade. So when you're talking about free trade, the trade will be free. There is no import duties or customs duties, anything. So here, concessional tariff will be there. Okay. So here, concessional tariff for members. So if let's suppose A and B are members, so between A and B, let's say the tariff may be 2, but another country C, so between them it will be 4 or 5 or etc. Okay, so I hope you understood. So let's suppose here the product, here see here, let's say the product cost is 7. Some products cost is 7, B the product cost is 9, or let's say 8. See, if there is no import duty, from C only A will import, right? Because the cost is less here, 7 only. But now import duty is there. Here it is 4. If 4 here, then this become 12. This become 11. Still A will import from C. Okay, because both A is getting, A is getting from C at a cheaper price. But when the preferential trade is there, see, let's suppose the import duty is 2 here, then 8 plus 2, 10 rupee, but here it is 11 rupee. Now the trade will be shifted between A and B, and that is the reason why A and B is actually signing this agreement. Okay, but here there is a disadvantage, and that's what you mean by, this is what you mean by trade diversion. I've told you in the beginning itself, one of the disadvantage of free trade agreement is actually there will be a trade diversion. See, from here, trade now diverted to this because of this agreement, right? But here, what is the problem? If you look into, C is the efficient producer, right? Per unit output, C cost less. Here, per unit cost, it cost more. So efficient country is actually in disadvantage because of this RTA. So I hope that is clear. So preferential trade agreement means it's all about concessional tariff. Okay, so not completely free trade, it is concessional tariff. So for example, the SAARC. Okay, so when it was established, 1985. Okay, and this SAFTA is the preferential trade agreement. Later it was converted to SAFTA. So 1995, no, so SAFTA, no, SAFTA, preferential trade agreement, SAARC, preferential trade agreement. Later it was converted to free trade agreement, SAFTA. Okay, so what is the difference? When it was SAFTA, concessional trade, tariff, SAFTA, free trade. But practically it is not completely free trade. There will be some, tariff will be there. Practically, no, it's not, zero is not possible. Okay, so this SAFTA from 2006 onwards, it is SAFTA. SAARC free trade agreement. Okay, similarly, okay, SAARC is 7+1. Afghan was added later. Similarly, NAFTA, okay, Canada, US, Mexico, between Canada, US, Mexico. Okay, so that's about preferential trade agreement. So next is free trade agreement. So what you know already, from preferential trade agreement, the integration will be slightly more. So free trade agreement, the cooperation or integration will be slightly more. So free trade agreement, FTA. Okay, so here technically, if you need to say what is free trade, free trade. So no tariff for members. No tariff for members. But practically, is it possible? Not completely zero, but there will be a significant concession, much more than preferential trade agreement. Significant reduction in tariff barriers will be there. Significant concession will be there. So like India ASEAN free trade agreement. Okay, so India ASEAN free trade agreement is an example. So these two, I don't think there is an explanation required. It is very simple. The other three needs much more explanation: common market, customs union, and economic union. Okay, so from here now, so preferential trade, concessional tariff to no tariff. Now let's see the next step, that is custom union. Customs union. CU. Now here obviously it will be higher than FTA. So what all elements are there in FTA will be here. Some addition will also be there. So what is that? So first of all, there will be no tariff for members. What is that? It means FTA. That means the previous one. Plus what extra is there? This you need to understand, and the purpose also you need to understand. I'll explain it here. Common tariff for non-members. Okay, so between, let's suppose A, B, C, they are signing the they are part of custom union. So let's suppose they are part of custom union. So A, B, C, between them free trade. Now for others, so let's suppose D, E, F, etc. want to trade with any of this ABC. ABC will have to have the common tariff. Okay, so common tariff for non-members. For others, let's say if it is 4 for A, B and C, just number I am taking. Now here what is the advantage among ABC? Why it is done is because among ABC, who is more efficient, he will get the advantage here. For example, let's say A produce some item random, let's say X, product X, PX. Okay, the cost of PX for A is let's say 4, B is let's say 6, C is let's say 7. So who is more efficient here? A is more efficient. B is better than C but not as good as A. Okay, now here if there is no tariff, then D, E, F, if they want to buy, they will buy from A. Okay, but now imagine a situation. From A, let's suppose there is a tariff. Okay, let's suppose there is a tariff of let's say 8. Okay, or let's suppose 5 rupee. Okay, so ultimately what will be the cost? 9 rupee will be the cost. Let's say from C there is 1 rupee as the tariff, so cost is 8. From B, let's say 1 rupee is the tariff, so let's say cost is 7. Now from where you will import? Here it is 7, here it is 8, here it is 9. Why this 9? It is because of high import duty, right? So because of this high import duty, now nobody is going to buy from A. So earlier people would have been bought from A. Now nobody is going to buy from A, they will buy from B because it is cheap here. Okay, so trade is diverted. So efficient, who is efficient? A is efficient, but now because of import duty, nobody is buying from A. But if there is a common tariff now, like here, common tariff for non-members. Okay, so DEF, their tariff is let's say common tariff, as I have told you, let's say 4 rupee. Then what will happen with A's value? 8, B 10, C 11. So from where you will buy? From A you will buy. So efficient country will get the benefit if there is a common tariff for non-members. Okay, so common tariff for non-members and no tariff for members. So I hope this is clear for all of you. So this will actually improve. So that means other countries will buy from most efficient one. So there will not be any trade distortion. So no trade distortion. So here basically, this, when I'm talking about custom union, this region will serve as a country. That you can remember, this region will serve as a country because everybody the same charge. Okay, so common tariff for non-members. Between them, see, for between country also, let's see if you consider states, after, especially after GST, not before GST the tax was different, but after GST it's like same, no? Between states there is no charge. So here also free trade between ABC, if you consider that as states. And then common tariff for the country. So these three countries will serve as a single country. I'm not talking about sovereignty, okay? I'm not talking about monetary policies. That level of integration will also come when it comes to some other free trade agreements like economic union and all, okay? So here, this region will serve as a country, or this, when you're talking about custom union, among themselves free trade and common tariff for non-members. That means common tariff means it serves as a country, okay? So these three together will have a common tariff, so it serves as a country. So higher level of integration, but not the highest. Highest will be different, okay? So next one is common market. Common market. Common market means single market or national market. Single market or national market, okay? So here, see, if you see, it is some more addition to customs union, okay? So first of all, custom union means already there is a free trade. No, that means no tariff for members. Then common tariff for non-members, that too is there. So I'm just writing custom union since you understood that. Then what more? No restriction on movement of labor and capital. Okay, see, between them now there is no restriction of movement of labor and capital. So that is one more step ahead. Okay, that is why I've told you integration level is actually increased. See, see, for example, EFTA, okay, or Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, okay. These are examples of common market. So between them, see, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. So let me tell you, between them there is free trade. There is no charge, okay? So between them there is free trade. Now there is a common tariff for others, like we have discussed here, common tariff for non-members. So some A, D, E countries are trading with them, there will be a common tariff. Also between them, not only free trade, movement of labor and capital, there is no restriction. So that is the extra point that you need to see from customs union to common market, okay? So here you will see this is somewhat higher level, right? And there is when the discussions was GST was going on, people used to say that GST will come up with a common market in India. See, if you consider, let's say there's a country, okay? So if you consider different states, for time being, if you assume these are different countries, for time being you assume these are different countries, okay? So this is allowed. These states, all these are states, assume these are different countries. So in that case, this is allowed, no restriction on movement of labor and capital. In India, we can move, okay, no restriction. Secondly, common tariff for non-members. If you see, they all have common tariff for some other member like E, F, outside this. They all have common tariff because country India is imposing the tariff. Which state you are buying, it doesn't matter, okay? So common tariff is there, but was this there? No tariff for members. That means between them, is there that provision allowed? Okay, see, actually different states had different tax in trade before, but GST will make sure that the common tax, okay? So that means that is also possible. So actually after GST there will be a common market, okay? That's what you mean by common market. Otherwise, if you see, this is allowed, this is okay, correct, but this was not there. Different states had different tax, okay? But now after GST it will be uniform, and that means there will be a common market, okay? But that is just for your understanding. I've told you common market means I'm talking in the point of view of countries. So first of all, free trade, that is one condition that is there in custom union also. Secondly, the common tariff for non-members, that is also there in custom union. Third one, free, or there is no restriction on movement of labor and capital. So what is the addition to custom union? No restriction on labor and capital. So that one addition, if you make here from custom, so that's how, right? So PTA, preferential trade agreement, then more integration in FTA, okay, free trade agreement, more integration in terms of what? Common tariff for non-members. That is what? Custom union. Now, one more addition. What is that? no restriction on movement of labor and capital. What you get? Common market. Now, what is left out? Left out with economic union. Okay, we will discuss that now. So next one, that is the fifth one, that is economic union. Okay, so it is basically economic and monetary union. Economic and monetary union. That itself will tell you the common domestic or monetary policies will also be there. Okay, for example, European Union. This is the highest level of integration. So here we have discussed about this. So PTA, Preferential Trade Agreement, it was concessional. Then Free Trade Agreement. Free Trade Agreement, what you have added to Custom Union? Common tariff for non-members. Custom Union, what you have added to Common Market? You have added that no restriction for movement of labor and capital. Now with Common Market, what you will add? Domestic policies, common domestic policies. So this will be Common Market. So Common Market includes three things, right? Free trade, then the common tariff, same tariff for non-members, then no restriction on movement of labor and capital. Now one more will be added here, that is common domestic policies. Common domestic policies. For example, industrial policy, monetary policy, etc. Okay, example, industrial policy, monetary policy, etc. Okay, so this is the highest level of economic integration. This is exactly similar to a country. No problem in movement of anything, labor or capital. Monetary policy, domestic policy are same, and the free trade. That means if you take a country, between states free trade. Okay, then common tariff if you're trading with some others, that is also there. So all the four are there. It is exactly similar to a country except sovereignty. Country retain the sovereignty, everything else is similar to a country. So example, European Union. So European Union in detail we'll discuss. We'll also discuss about that Eurozone crisis in detail later in the coming sessions. So European Union means how many countries? It was 28, but UK is out now, so 27. What about Eurozone? Eurozone means those countries who's having euro as their currency. Those they are part of European Union, but not all countries of European Union accept euro as their currency, right? So those countries who accept euro as their currency is Eurozone members. So how many are there? 17. So 17, the currency is euro. Okay, so not all European Union countries are part of Eurozone. So Eurozone crisis, I'll discuss about that PIGS issue later. So this is about various levels of economic integration. So that's what you need to know. So now if you see, as I have told you, this Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, CECA and CEPA, I hope you understood. The terms that we have discussed all are basically part of this. These are just, the diplomatic words that you are using when you are signing an agreement with the country. We have signed CECA. That means it would be any of this. You will be part of any of this. Because when you're talking about CECA, it's not merely trade, right? Not merely trade. When you're talking about this word cooperation itself is much more than trade. And if you talk about partnership is much more than cooperation. So now let's not get into the details of these words. So when I'm talking about CECA, CEPA, etc., it means it can be simply trade. So it can be free trade agreement, or it can be custom union, it can be common market, or it can be economic union. Okay, so now we will also discuss about BTIA, bilateral trade and investment agreement, that we have signed with EU, and then BIPA, bilateral investment promotion and protection agreement, which we have signed with Netherlands, and that case also we will discuss. Okay, so I think this case was actually discussed in the chapter of taxation in detail. So in the Hutchison case, okay, that we have already covered. So I hope this is done. So in the next session we will talk about mega regional trade agreements. Okay, we will talk about RCEP. Okay, we will talk about Trans-Pacific Partnership, etc. All those will be covered in the next session. So I hope you understood the session. So that's about the session. I hope you understood everything that we have discussed today. If you have any doubt in any of the videos that we have discussed so far, you can get in touch with me here. That's my Instagram ID. Okay. Or you can join the Telegram channel. You will get all my videos over there. Everything is there. Or you can see here, this is a Telegram channel, or this is the Instagram ID. These two are my Facebook page. You can get in touch with me in any of this. If you want to learn economy with me or history with me or general studies, any subjects, you can, if you need regular classes, you can get in touch with me, or the online classes are available with StudyIQ. You will get all those classes. Still, you will get my YouTube videos in this Telegram channel. Okay. So I hope you understood everything that we have discussed. So see you guys. Thank you.